Hey, it's Steven for Futurelooks.com and welcome to CES 2014 in Las Vegas. We're here to check out a whole bunch of different products from smartphones to tablets to all sorts of different products including robotics, but what we're most focused on is stuff for people who like computers, and that's what we're going to bring you this week. Let's check it out. Kicking things off at CES 2014, we're going to check out some new InWin products. One of the things that I'm really interested in and really excited about for a PC DIY is this case series right here. This is the 900 series. Right beside me over here, we've got the 904 ATX, which launched last year, and then right after it, the 901. The main difference between the two is that on the 904 ATX, you can mount an ATX-sized motherboard as well as full-size components. It's got fantastic features, including a tempered glass front panel and back panel to show off your system. And because there's a light inside here, when you turn it off, it goes completely black so that it completely blacks out everything out inside. But when you turn it on, you can show off all the really cool components inside your system. Great cable management, lots of really great features that you expect from a case of this class. Retail price of this particular case is around the $260 to $280 price point. And then if you want to build something just a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact, they've got the InWin 901 ITX. This case here, like its bigger brother, is made from one single piece of aluminum, and it has the same tempered glass front and back panels here. Lots of cable management, great features here. Also has the lighting feature so that when you turn off the lights inside, it completely blocks out all of the internal components. So if you're at a LAN party or something like that and you want to kind of have people guessing what you have in your system here, you can totally do that with this case. The MSRP of this particular unit here is $190, and I have to say, based on the look and the finish here, it's totally worth it. Next up, we're going to be kicking things off with Gigabyte on the hardware side. They're going to be showing us some hardware that is small on the outside, but big on the inside. Let's check it out. Now, normally at the show, we'd be checking out their new motherboards. Unfortunately, they've already launched all their new motherboards last year. So for this show, we're going to be checking out something a little bit different. You may remember the BRIX systems, which are these small, tiny little boxes not named after a certain marketing rep from the company. They are very powerful, usually housing an i5 processor, and they offer all sorts of benefits such as size, like in connectivity with USB, but they've also taken this another step this year with the new BRIX Pro. They're bringing out two different versions. The i7 version is the black one you see here. It's a little bit bigger than the normal BRIX, about double-decker the size. Still has USB 3.0 connectivity, still has DisplayPort, HDMI, but inside you get a full-blown Haswell processor, an i7 processor, and you get Iris Pro 5200 graphics. And the other really cool thing is that now you can actually include, you can actually upgrade the internal hard drive, not only take advantage of the mSATA that's already in there, but you can add an additional 2.5-inch hard drive to increase the storage. So something like this would be a great media server, gaming system, or even a Steam box. Now, if that's a little bit too much for you, the $649.99 price point for this is too much. They've also got an i5 version with a lot of similar things. It's $529.99 for this guy with an i5 processor. It's still double the height, same connectivity options, but housing an i5 processor and the same Intel Iris Pro 5200 graphics. So still good graphics, just a little bit less powerful CPU, which isn't a big deal when you're mainly playing games with it. And just something that's just a little bit different and still on the graphics train. We've also got some prototypes sitting right here from Gigabyte. Now these are actually i7 prototypes that are kind of experimenting with new GPUs. This one's using an upgraded NVIDIA processor GPU, and this one's using an AMD GPU. They're still working out the details, which way they're going to go, but you can kind of imagine that if they were able to put an i7 processor in here, extra storage space, mSATA, and more powerful graphics, that this could be potentially a very compact gaming solution for LAN parties, or even, again, Steam boxes, which should become very popular in the next little while. I don't have any MSRP or pricing information or even availability, but expect some more announcements to come out by the end of Q1. Now, speaking of graphics expansion or graphics upgradability in the BRIX platform, we've got something really cool to show you over here. This is a BRIX Pro that's running a mini SAS connector, a set of mini SAS connectors into an external expander card box here. And inside this box is a GTX Titan. Now, how they're doing that is by utilizing the bandwidth inside mini SAS, they're able to power this card and also take advantage of its powerful GPU processing power. Now, what that means for a lot of people is that, say that you're looking for a very compact gaming system, well, now you can, except that you can upgrade your graphics now to take advantage of the latest games down the road. This is housing a Titan, but you can pretty much use any graphics card that's PCI Express inside this box here. Now, again, this is a prototype, but this is kind of the road that the BRIX is going down, where, you know, small size does not necessarily mean compromise in graphics performance. We're dropping by ADATA to check out some new products. One of the new products that they have is a higher capacity SX900 series drive here. This is an SSD based on regular SATA 3, 6 gigabit per second, but it's 2 terabytes in size. Retail MSRP is not available yet, but it does have a new LSI controller, and performance should be comparable to the original SX900 series. Speaking of performance, ADATA has also been showing off some new M.2 PCI Express SSD concepts here. This one here is plugged into kind of a mishmash of different adapters, but rest assured that once this is ready, this will be pushing about 1800 megabytes per second. So if you read our Mac Pro versus DIY article, that's basically about 800 megabytes per second faster than the Mac Pro's PCI Express SSD internally. So really cool for DIY upgraders who are looking for more performance. And last but not least, we have a look at DDR4. Yes, DDR4. It's actually a working sample that we've got right here, which is really weird because no boards are actually available right now to use it, but we're assured that this is a working sample. So if you happen to come across a DDR4 ready motherboard, then you should be able to use these modules. Pricing and availability are not available yet, but they should be hitting the market as soon as the motherboards hit the market. And those are some of the new innovations and new products from ADATA at CES 2014. We're checking in with Be Quiet to see some new products that they have brought to the market to address a lower cost, more budget-oriented user that still wants a high-quality product but doesn't want to pay the premium price of their previous products. For example, in their fans, typically you'd be paying $25 for these fans here. They're fantastic fans, they're great, they come with everything you need, but you know, $10 sounds a whole lot better in their Pure Wings series fans right here. These are called the Pure Wings 2, and they use the same profiling and shaping that makes the $25 fans so quiet and so good performance. And of course, at a much lower price point, they go 140, 120, 92, and 90 millimeters starting at $10, which is pretty affordable. And to address the need for a high quality yet high performance cooler on their side, they've brought this one out. This is called the Shadow Rock 2. Now this cooler will hit the market for around $45 to $50. It's still massive. It still comes with a really high quality fan. And you know, of course, with the fin and profiling and everything like that, it'll give you really great performance at an affordable price. But that's not all. One of the other things that Be Quiet has been addressing is the need for a smaller cooler that clears really high heat sinks or surface mount components on most motherboards. And that's this guy right here. This is called the Dark Rock Slim. What this allows you to do is basically clear those tall heat sinks on many configurations. So you can still have a Be Quiet brand cooler, high performance, but now you can have your high profile memory modules as well too. Price point for this one will be in the $40 to $45 range when it comes out. Of course, Be Quiet is known for their high quality products and their high-end products, so they've brought out a new series called the Dark Rock Pro 3. Starting at $90, this one here has 2 fans, but you know, you can even add a third if you want for more high performance. It's of course massive, and all the quality that you've expected from Be Quiet, and the nickel-plated you know, fins and everything like that are in this cooler here. It's a fantastic looking unit. It's humongous. You're going to have to use your low-profile DDR3 memory modules or DDR4 memory modules when you mount this, but you know, for the performance and the overclocking potential of an air cooler, you really can't match this one. But if you want something that's a little bit more affordable, maybe a little low profile, you've got this guy here. It's called the Dark Rock 3. This one sells for $70. The little brother to the Dark Rock 3 up here, the larger one. And it also has, of course, the new sculpting that allows for better thermals, and as well, it sells for a little bit lower price point at $70. Now, to give DIY enthusiasts a little bit more versatility in their builds, what Be Quiet has done is they've created some new form factor power supplies in their lineup. They've got an SFX and a GFX power supply here. These guys here are 80 plus bronze and gold. This one here is 80 plus bronze only because of the size. We don't know much about when they're going to be coming out on the market, but expect both of these to be under the $100 price point for both of these units right here, giving DIY enthusiasts a little bit more versatility in their builds, while adding the capacity to build a smaller, more powerful system. We're checking out some new products from Silverstone, one of our favorite DIY PC case companies, and I wanted to take you first through some updates to their home theater line, the Grandia series. This is the GD10 right here, and this is basically an update or continuation of their GD line. This case looks a whole lot like the GD07 with the front aluminum faceplate, the locking mechanism, making it really secure. Make sure that, if you have kids at home and you're building a home theater system, you don't have the reset and the off switch on there, or you can totally rack mount this thing with optional rack ears on the side here. This particular case has some specific improvements, or rather differences, over the GD07. For example, it's a little bit shorter. So if you are rack mounting the case and you need more room, or if you're using a short rack, this makes a whole lot of sense. It also comes with filters on both sides like the original, but the GD10 also has one thing that I really like, and that's the fact that out of the box you get 3 fans. They're facing inwards for Silverstone's specific positive air pressure, which works really well, so it keeps dust low, and it comes with these 3 fans inside, and it's basically ready to go. You just pop in your ATX motherboard, all your components, your standard ATX power supply, and that's it. Now, one major difference between the GD07 and this case is the fact that you're losing a few drive bays, but that's okay, because with the capacity of hard drives these days, you don't need as many drives to get the capacity for your home theater needs. Or if you are rack mounting it, if you're building a mobile video editing system like we did with the GD07, there are some advantages to having fewer parts inside the case, and it makes it a little bit easier to build and cable manage. The target price for this case is about the $100 price point, which is really competitive, and it's about the same as the original GD07. However, if you have your own plan, say that you want to do some water cooling, you have the option of getting this case right here, which has a lower price point. It's about $75, has a plastic front face with a more traditional looking home theater PC look on it, but for $75, it definitely represents a whole lot of value. Same features as the GD10 over here. This one's called the GD09, and same great build quality from Silverstone. Now we're going to take you over to Michael from Silverstone. He's got 4 new cases to show off to us, and you're really going to want to hear about these. So as promised, I'm with Michael from Silverstone, and he's going to take us through 4 more cases that you definitely want to hear about. But 2 of those cases addresses the whole steam machine phenomenon at CES. Steam machines have completely blown up the convention. There's over 20 companies putting out machines. But what about PC DIY users? What is there for us? Well, Silverstone has 2 solutions right here. Isn't that right, Michael?
Yeah, definitely. This is one of the things that we heard that a lot of people are requesting. They're looking towards having a machine that they can put a Steam OS on, put it inside their living room, and they definitely are not ashamed to show it. So because of that, we kind of designed what we call the RVZ01 and the ML07. These are 2 brand new cases. We've demoed the RVZ01 before, and you might have actually even seen some reviews on it. And it's definitely had a lot of very positive reviews. The first thing that you'll notice with this card is that you actually can fit a huge graphics card in it, even a Titan if you wanted to, as an example. And the reason that we're able to do that is because it includes a riser card included with the case itself. So you can simply just see that if you go ahead and remove the actual graphics card right here, really easy to pull up, you can put a very long length graphics card built into this guy. The really other unique thing about this case that you don't see with a lot of them that are in this form factor is that if you actually wanted to, it's not an easy task, I have to say, but you can actually water cool both the GPU and the CPU for it. So for example, you can see over here on the bottom, you'd be able to fit a rather large rad, and the reason that you can do that is because we also include with this case a single 15mm fan on the bottom over here, and that allows you to have enough clearance to put both the GPU as well as the rad inside of here. On the top of it, above the actual motherboard as well, There's also an additional 120mm fan slot, so you can put an additional rad in there using the same exact 15mm fan that we include with this case. So it's got a lot of options, a lot of capabilities inside of here, so you can pretty much build your dream machine in a small form factor and really have no limitations in that part.
So it looks extremely well cooled, even for a smaller form factor system, which is very rare. And the other thing too that I noticed is that it has feet on the bottom, so you can actually do a completely vertical system too, right?
Yeah, so with this guy, we actually designed it so that way you can put it really whichever way you want. Kind of think of like the Xbox One, we were talking about that a little while ago. So with this guy, you can see, you can either keep it vertical like this. We include 4 small rubber feet that go on the bottom to give it enough lift to be able to get the air from the underneath and increase the circulation for the GPU. Or if you wanted to, you can use these rubber feet that are currently on it, be able to pop it upright, and be able to keep it like a traditional tower almost, if you would. And the feet are reversible, so you can either put it on the bottom or the top. Additionally, on the very front, you see the logo over here. We do include 2 different plastic Silverstone Raven logos, so you can also orient that actual logo itself to be either vertical. The one that goes vertical does have a bit of a bend to it, or if you wanted to put it sideways, once again laying flat on the ground, it's able to go ahead and have that finish, that flush, very good-looking look. Included with this case, we do include 3 separate magnetic fan filters. These guys are very easy to just go ahead and slide on and off, so making it a breeze really to go ahead and make sure that your system doesn't have any dust that gets into it. And then just like other Silverstone products, it's definitely built around the idea of positive air pressure, so making sure that you don't have too many issues with actually keeping all of your components inside of there cool. In order to power this guy up, it does need to have an SFX power supply. Currently, we do have the 450 gold rated power supply, so if you have, for example, an i5 in here and a Titan, that's still plenty of power to be able to power both of those guys up. So definitely a lot of capabilities that you can go ahead and have with this case. And even some are smaller features. For example, you can put an ODD in here using a slimline optical, either through a DVD or a Blu-ray currently available, and just a ton of features packed into a tiny little case.
That's great. Now, obviously, the Raven series is more of an aggressive look, more of a gamer's look. I noticed that you have an ML version of that same case over here that looks fantastic as well, too. What are you doing with this to make it a little bit more different?
With the ML07 over here, it's got a full plastic front panel, and it has a bit of a more refined look to it. So something that's kind of a little bit more sleeker, a little bit easier to take a look at if you don't want that aggressive look inside your cabinet. Currently, right now, with this version itself, because of the actual materials that we're using, it is going to be a little bit more inexpensive. So for example, with the original case that you were looking at, the RVZ01, we were hoping for an MSRP of around $90, and that does include the riser card. And with the ML07, we're hoping for probably about a $15 to $10 difference between, so a little bit more inexpensive option for the consumer. Unfortunately, nothing is set in stone with it because it is so early in the development of the ML07, but those are our targets for right now.
That's fantastic. So 2 options for Steam machine builders, or even smaller form factor gaming builders out there that want something just a little bit more sleek to take to the next LAN party. Now, speaking of builders, we have a lot of builders out there that want larger cases, they want a water cool, they want large full-size components, and I noticed that you have a new Raven over here.
If you're any familiar with the Raven case, our Raven cases have always been known for their innovation. They've been known to kind of push the envelope, have different features that a lot of other companies that don't have with their cases, and really separate themselves from the competition. We also noticed that with the very first case, one of the features that was extremely popular was the 90-degree motherboard. So with the Raven 5, we were bringing that back. Same exact thing with the FTO5, we're bringing that back for both of these cases. So these cases have that 90-degree motherboards built into it. Another thing you'll notice is that in the very front, there is no 5¼ bay. Realistically, we noticed that a lot of consumers aren't using the ODDs in the front anymore. They're not using the accessories that go in the front. So that's just taking up a lot of space that goes on the inside of the case, making it so that if you wanted to have a powerful rig, you have to have a behemoth of a case in a lot of situations. So we heard that issue as well. We recognized it. So we went ahead and killed those off. But we know that still people, once again, need an ODD, they need a Blu-ray player, they need some type of a drive inside of it. So we went ahead and put a slimline optical in the front as well, so you can still, once again, just like with the RVZ01, you can go ahead and put an ODD in there and be able to use it to whatever you need to use it for. I'm going to go ahead and open up the FTO5 over here, and you're able to see on the inside of it how convenient it is to build and how easy it is to build, and also the idea of what we call positive pressure. Extremely easy to take apart first off, so you just go ahead and slide off the front panel over here. You go ahead and pull open the wall, and you have full access to the case itself. On the inside of it, you'll notice 2 182 air penetrator fans. These are Silverstone fans that have been one of the more aggressive and more powerful fans on the market, but they also have the option of remaining quiet and cool, because on the very top front panel there is a controller knob over here, so you can adjust the actual variable speed and voltage on the fans itself, so that way you can get better performance or better audio depending on whatever your preference is going to be. On top of that, you'll notice that, once again, that 90 degrees rotation, so all the I/O ports and everything else, including the graphics, coming out of the top. Case on this guy is able to fit the full ATX motherboard, so you can definitely put 3 graphics card if you wanted to, or whatever else you needed to on this guy, as long long as your motherboard is going to be capable of that. And you can fit any type of an ATX power supply, even a little bit of a longer one sometimes, just depending on obviously your configuration. In terms of the actual storage capability, in the very front over here, you're going to see that it does have two 3.5-inch bays. This actual bay itself is removable in case if you wanted to go ahead and not use those 3.5-inch. And on the very bottom, if you actually wanted to take out those 180mm fans, it does have capabilities to be water cooled through multiple options and multiple setups. On the very back, behind the actual motherboard itself, it does additionally have two slots for two 2.5-inch drives, so you can put SSDs behind your motherboard. So once again, plenty of options in terms of actual storage on this guy, plenty of options in terms of customizability if you want to do water cooling, and then obviously, like I had mentioned, built off that idea of positive air pressure, so all the intakes are coming from the bottom of the case, making it very easy to go ahead and get the fresh air in the bottom, cooling the components, and then just using the way that thermals work, excuse me, being able to get that heat out of the top of the actual case itself. So definitely a lot of thought went into this case, and a lot of thought went into the design and the actual practicality. So if you're going to be looking towards a case that's going to cool all of your components and make sure that everything is really top-notch for your performance, this is the guy that you want to stay with.
Well, it definitely shows, because there's a lot of features here that modern case builders are using today, and you've taken that and you've completely translated the right way into this case. That's really great. Now, as far as pricing and availability of these two cases, what are we looking at? How long do we have to wait?
The RV05, we're hoping for by the end of Q1 release. It is still perspectives because we still have to make sure of everything, but it should be by the end of Q1. And the perspective pricing is going to be about 120 USD. For the FT05, we're hoping for it to come out before Computex. On this guy, the perspective pricing, once again, is not set in stone because it's still in the initial phases, is going to be prospectively around 180 USD. The big differences you're seeing between the two cases that justify the price are with the RV05, it's going to have that plastic front panel on it, so a little bit of that more aggressive look, but the materials are a little bit more inexpensive for you. Whereas the FT05 is going to have that full aluminum brush panel on the front, so it's got a much better material on the front, much cleaner and styled look on it. As well, the key differences are the fans inside of it. With the RV05, it's going to have our air penetrator 181s, which are going to be just variable controls on that, as well as with the AP182s, these have that knob on the front, so like I said, a lot more control and a lot more options that you have in terms of adjusting it. And then the very final thing is that with the FT05, also on the very final production models, we're hoping to include a noise dampening acoustics on the side of the case, so that way if you're looking for that ultimate quiet build with great thermal performance and everything you can imagine inside of it, it's going to be built into it. So.
And now moving on, we have something on the other side here that's for micro ATX builders, and Tony, our friend from Silverstone, is going to take us through that. So as promised, micro ATX builders are going to be taken care of by Silverstone, and we have Tony over here that's going to tell us about the continuation of the SG series.
SG01 and SG02, these are our initial micro ATX small form factor cases. They were really popular even today. So I think it's time for us to update these two case designs. So in front of me here, there are SG11 and SG12. So they're utilizing the very popular cube style small form factor design from the SG01 with a few tweaks. So if you can see from the front side, the original SG01 and SG02 had two 5.25-inch drive bays. So we now remove one of them. So this enabled us to increase the size of the fan on the right side of the case from 80mm to 120mm. And also because of the free up room from that side, we're able to also play around with the drive cages. So we can now see we can mount up to 9 2.5-inch drive bays in this case, which is quite a lot.
That is a lot, actually.
Yeah, for micro ATX, that's only 22 liters in size. So the other differences between the two cases besides the material and also the styling is that the SG12 has this nice looking aluminum handle on the front, so you can actually pick up this case from the front side, just like this.
So it's really good for LAN parties, right?
Yeah, of course. And so the pricing wise, we are also worked that into the new design, so we're hoping to get the price down lower than when the original SG01 and SG02 were launched. They were about $100 or more. So with this SG11 with the plastic front panel, we're looking at probably around $60 or so, 60 to 70, while this would be $10 to $15 more.
That's fantastic. So basically, from the original SG01 and SG02, you're getting more performance, more case, more features, just plain better.
Just a more modern design to a very popular old case.
Now, when are we looking at this coming out?
Probably the end of Q2. Hopefully everything before Computex.
It's always about Computex, isn't it, Tony?
Right. Yes.
Checking out some new products, some Steelseries. One of the products that I want to highlight is, of course, the Sensei Wireless, which is this guy right here. This is based on the Sensei mouse design. It has 8200 CPI, but you can actually jack that up to 16,400 DPI in the Steelseries engine software, both on the cloud and also on your desktop. It is a ambidextrous mouse, meaning that you can left hand, right hand, no problem. It's a classic design, and it has the scroll wheel and the DPI setting right on top. But what makes this unique is the fact that it does have a completely wireless feature here. You can see no wires right here, and it charges via a USB cable when you're on the road. It's a micro USB, or you can just wire it up if you want that wired mouse experience. And of course, at home, you have this dock right here that you can place it on top of. And like the Steelseries symbol back here, which gives you a color combinations up to 16 million plus colors, you can also change the colors around this ring right here to go with your desktop or your setup at home. Retail MSRP is $159.99, and it will be available at the end of the quarter. And that concludes episode 1 of our CES 2014 coverage in Las Vegas. But don't worry, we've got a whole lot more computer stuff for you to see this week. I'm Steven with Futurelooks.com. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode.